这里是异世界，精彩继续。出国留学呢，一直以来都是一个非常热门的话题。然而最近呢，有一些家长却陷入了一个两难的境地。到底是什么时间送孩子出国留学较好呢？是在他们初中、高中毕业以后呢，去国外进行学习生活，还是说在他们高中毕业以后，甚至是大学毕业以后呢，继续学习生活呢？今天呢，我们和大家呢就一起来聊一聊这样的一个话题。很荣幸今天请到了二位嘉宾，一位是来自美国圣詹姆斯中学校长 Father Dunnan， Welcome； 另一位呢是中国驻新西兰前教育领事高宇航老师，欢迎二位。Welcome. So first, could you give us a quick introduction of your school? How it's like, the St. James?
St. James is in Maryland, which is a very little state in the middle of the East Coast. It's a very old school. It was founded in 1845, and it functions generally as the smaller, more traditional, more family-like alternative to the other very good American boarding schools.
I saw the pictures. I tapped into the internet. It was so amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
If I were younger, I would choose the St. James. So, Mr. Gao, have you got some experiences, or your family members? Have you get the experiences to going abroad for the further studies?
Yeah. I had the experience to work in New Zealand as an education counsel. So not only my daughter study in the secondary school in New Zealand, but also I face a lot of students, especially some young age students who study in the New Zealand. Yes, we talk to each other about the age.
Yes.
There is a word in English, it's underage. You can say you're underage to smoke, you're underage to drink, but they never say you're underage to study abroad.
Yes.
Yeah, but personally, I think there is a problem that if your parents stay with you, study abroad, under 14 or 12, that's much better. What's your opinion, Father?
Well, I agree with that. I think that, especially to go to another country and to live at boarding school, if you're too young, it can harm your social education.
Yeah.
If you go to a bigger school, okay, you're on your own, you make your own decisions. Boys can go in girls' dorms and girls can go in boys' dorms, and it's too much. They're too young for that.
Yes.
My point is that I think it's very important the size of the school they share that one culture of the school. So what did you make on your test? How did we do in the game? Are you in the choir? Are you in the play?
But Father, I have a two problem when I work abroad, face the problems. The one thing is that some of the students who study abroad, the age is too big.
Young. Oh.
Not too big.
Too big. Okay.
They cannot like a native speaker anymore.
Exactly.
If they're under 12, it's much easier for them to speak English like the native speaker. Well, that's one question. Another one is that different ethnic, they gather together. Like Chinese students like talk to each other, Japanese one, Korean one. That's another problem I face while I work in New Zealand. Is that same thing happened in the United States?
Absolutely. I mean, those are tremendous challenges that American schools face teaching all of our international students, and especially Chinese students, because there's so many of them. And there are many people in China, and there's great interest in education in China. And some boarding schools, frankly, have allowed their school, have enrolled too many Chinese students, so they just speak Chinese with each other.
It's not help.
It's not what their parents are paying for,
Yes.
it's not good.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. So we limit our enrollment for any one country to 5%, but our international enrollment is limited to 22%. But that goes back to the size of the school.
Yeah.
Because if it's a very big school, then
still there are a lot.
Though there's still it's twice as many, 3 times as many Chinese, even though it's the same proportion, and they do just speak Chinese with each other, and they're not really learning English. And so again, I would argue the smaller the school, the better, though so long as it's big enough to have good programs.
Yeah.
And then the other point you make about
Language year,
being able to, be fluent in English is very well made. I mean, my
They
language.
have to memorize
Exactly.
another
and,
language.
And you both speak such wonderful English.
Well, thank you.
And you really have to get used to that and speak English and function in English. This is why I think it's very valuable and a great gift to your child if a Chinese parent can send his or her children or their children to America in high school or earlier. Because the hardest ones are the ones who go straight to university from school in China because their language skills just aren't fluent. They have academic English, but they don't, lecture and conversation, it doesn't work for them. Presentation. They can't do any of that.
From your experience as the headmaster in St. James, so have you noticed some differences between the Chinese students and the American students? I mean, the study habits. Have you noticed some
Yes, but
difference?
I think, Chinese parents, and we were talking earlier, but Chinese parents, focus very rigorously on academic preparation.
In China, the parents pay the private teacher mainly to increase their academic score. That's the very different things, especially in the university entrance examination. They can do that. They invite different subject teachers at home to teach them, pay them hourly. It's really very effective. But what happened in the United States is their parents pay the private teacher for their SAT or ACT or something like that.
Some wealthier parents do that.
Wealthy ones.
Wealthy ones.
Wealthy,
If their parents
okay.
aren't doing, if their children aren't doing well, it's not very effective.
Okay.
Which is-
Not effective.
Which we've
I
discovered.
think the system is different.
It is
That's-
different.
Yeah, the system is
SAT,
different.
Even you pay very high, it's not help for the score.
They
So
don't
that-
work as hard. You see, and I mean, American students fundamentally do not work as hard as Chinese students. And I'm American.
So that's
and-
the difference
and I
you
will
make.
say that. And if you in Korea or in China, the Koreans call it SAT boot camp, where you go to an SAT school during the summer and you learn how to prepare.
It's skill training, actually.
And they spend all summer doing it, and they work very, very hard. No American student would do that. I mean, they think they should be doing sports and activities in the summer, and their parents think that too.
Well, with more and more young people flocking abroad to pursue their studies, especially at a possible number, is it appropriate for everyone at a younger age to go abroad? What do you think?
I don't think everyone. I think one of the things we look for in candidates who come to St. James is whether they're very extroverted and outgoing, and because if they're shy and introverted, it's going to be very difficult for them to make American friends, speak to their American teachers, and learn and function in English.
The parents is very important to make the decision, but you must ask the children if they like.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
that's
completely
the-
agree.
Yeah, that's the key points, I think.
And we ask that. We
Yeah,
say, do
you
you
do
want
the
to
same.
come? What do you like about St. James? And
Yeah.
if the child can't give us an answer, we don't admit them.
Okay, thank you so much for your insight. It's really helpful. And it is our hope that to gives you, our audience, a more clear lens when you focus on this question, whether to go abroad at a younger age or not. See you next time.